Good morning, everyone. We are going to start with a new topic today that is motion and time. Motion and time, what somewhat familiar terms that you have already been learning about. We'll be looking more into detail into this chapter. Now, today for this unit, we'll be completing the objectives that we have for this particular unit. Are that we'll be able to define what is time. We'll be able to determine and understand why the standard SI unit or a standard measurement of unit was required, and we will be able to list the multiples and the submultiples of the SI unit system. So now, as we start with the concept of understanding about motion and time, the first and foremost thing that we are going to study today is what do we understand by the term time. Now, whenever we have to define time, we define it as a period between events, okay, is defined as time. What is it? A period between events is defined as the time. Now, any duration, any change that you see in an object, okay, at a particular duration, that change is happening in that particular duration. That duration is considered as the time interval. Now, always whenever we talk about motion and time, and as we are going to continuously talk about it, motion and time both are related concept, okay, which cannot be separated from each other. Whenever we talk about motion, there comes the dependency of the time, because any change that you will see, or any change in the maybe in the distance or in the position of the object. You can see two pictures over here of a car. Okay, so position car first is on position A, followed by it is in on position B. So here it also will come under the consider. Here we will consider time together with the change in the position of the object. So as and then we will determine it as that the body has moved a certain position. Okay, so both motion and time, they cannot be separated from each other. They are relative, they are related concepts, and are always considered together with each other. Followed by, now, as here we are basically talking about time. Okay, time is a type of a physical quantity. Now, what do we understand by physical quantity? Such quantity which can be measured. Okay, so when I am going to measure, say, I want some sugar. Okay, so I am not just going to tell the shopkeeper to give me sugar, but then I'll have to tell how much sugar do I need. So I need to tell maybe 5 kgs, maybe 500 grams, correct? So such measures, when we are able to determine, when we are able to tell, those measures, or those measures are called as physical quantity. So it's not just time. We here talk about weight, we here talk about temperature, here we talk about distance. So all these come under the category of physical quantity. Okay, so now, as we are talking here about physical quantity and they can be measured, so for that, for them, there was a requirement of a particular unit in which they can be measured. Okay, so say if weight, we are going to measure them in grams or kilograms. Okay, length, we are going to measure it in centimeters, meters, kilometers. Correct. So earlier to this, before meter, kilometer, centimeter was decided, earlier to this, each and every place had their own devised rule on how are they going to determine the maybe the time, maybe the weight, maybe the distance. But then the realization came that, if you remember in your earlier class in grade 6, you must have studied about uh, food. Okay, measuring the distance by with the help of a foot, handspan, cubit. Okay, those were the measures which were taken earlier by these people, by the earlier people. So, are they reliable sources? Can we actually take the measures that we are getting, or can we rely on the measures that we are getting with the help of the foot or the handspan? No, because the foot and the hand, okay, when we are measuring, or the size of the foot and the hand, it differs from person to person. If I'm telling a child to do or to calculate the distance, or for an adult to do the same with a handspan or a foot, for both of them, the measure, the quantity that they will get will be different. Okay, so that is why those measures were not reliable. We cannot be relied, we cannot prove them to be true, because for each individual the measures would be different. So it was decided that there should be a uniformity, that each and every country all around the people in the world are following a same data, a same plan. So on that context, SI unit system was decided. That is the international system of unit, which is the standard unit of measurement, was decided. Okay, so this SI unit, the four main SI units that we have, it is the meter, which goes for distance, kilogram for weight, second for time, and Kelvin for temperature. So these were the four basic main units that were decided, that were the standard units that had to be used for any of the physical quantity measurement that they had to do. In that, now at times it does happen that we do not prefer kilogram as a unit for particular measurement of an object. Maybe I need at that time gram. So later on they had subdivided the units into FPS, CGS system, and MKS system. Okay, now when I say FPS system, it's an abbreviated form of foot, pound, and second. And when I say CGS system, it is the abbreviated form of centimeter, gram, and second. And MKS system is the abbreviated form of meter, kilogram, and second. Okay, so these, depending on the preferences on what those people wanted, they can utilize according to the object that they are measuring, according to either maybe the weight, maybe the length, maybe the temperature or the time. Okay, now in this, like how we have for different measures like time, for weight, we have different measures. In the same way, we have three different units for temperature as well. Now, the three different units for temperature, it's not just Kelvin, there are two more, that is Fahrenheit and Celsius. Now, when I say Fahrenheit and Celsius, one of the biggest example that you can, and you can remember it forever, is uh, take the example of India and United States of America. Okay. Now, when I say India, now when we are measuring temperature in India, it is always done in degree Celsius. Okay, you can even see it in the newspaper columns or the temperature related daily news that you get on your mobile phone. So it is always written in degree Celsius. Whereas when we are calculating the temperature or the temperature calculation which is done in United States of America, they there use degree Fahrenheit. Okay, so it completely depends on the preferences, and that is why these sub units have been made up in the SI unit system. Now, so we have come across, we have understood what is the SI unit and the sub units in that. Now, what happens at time is that there are certain measures which may be written in billions or million. Okay, and there are certain measures which are so tiny in their measure, which may be written in the smallest decimal form, maybe 0.00001. Okay, that would be the measure of a particular object based on its height, based on its maybe size. Okay, so for certain measures wherein the quantity is so high or so low that it becomes very difficult for a person to write it down numerically. Okay, it becomes difficult to write it numerically down. Maybe verbally it will be easy for a person to say it is in billions or it is in millions, or for a person to say that it is a very small object that here we are talking about. But then if I want to state it or I want to write it down numerically, it becomes tedious, it becomes a bit difficult. So in order to reduce this difficulty level, the system decided that there should be multiples and sub-multiples decided for the SI unit. Now, when I talk about the multiples of SI unit, they are the larger areas, larger quantities. Okay, that means the ones which may be in lakhs, billions, crores. Whereas when we talk about sub-multiples, here the measures which are taken, they are in the decimal quantities, which are very so tiny, so small. So here we can take in consideration the objects such as subatomic particles, atoms when we are talking about them, the microorganisms which we cannot see through our naked eyes at all. Okay, so when we are considering them, for them the measures that we take therein, in order to reduce the difficulty, we use this sub-multiples of the SI unit. Now, when we talk about the multiples of the SI unit, so here we can see there are giga, mega, kilo, hecto, and deca. Okay, whereas for sub-multiples of SI unit, they are deci, centi, milli, micro, and nano. Now here towards, besides them, you can see that I have mentioned over there some numbers. Okay, so here you can easily see that giga, it is written. Now this is the multiple form. Okay, it is not a standard form. That means it is not the original number. We have reduced that original number into a multiple form. Okay, so here I have written, we have written it over here. Giga is 10 raised to 9. Okay, now here, whenever you see a number which is written in the uppercase, so that means on the upper hand side, right hand upper region of any number, say 10 or 2. So this number that you are seeing over here, 9, this is considered as an exponent. What is it called as? It is called as an exponent. And when I have to verbally say what the number is, I will say it is 10 raised to 9. It is 10 raised to 9. The same follows for the others as well. For mega, it is 10 raised to 6. And what's the exponent over here? The exponent is 6. Okay, and when we move on to the next one that we see towards our right hand side, that's the sub multiples of SI unit. So here I see that deci. Okay, so this deci, what's the number written? It's 10 raised to minus 1. So what did we see towards the left hand side? That the exponent was written as it is. It was positive. There was no negative sign attached to it. But then when we are coming to the sub multiples, what do I see over here? Here, all the submultiples, the exponents which are written on them, they are written in negative form. Okay, so there's a reason. Let's try to understand that. Clear? Okay, now we'll try to understand how these multiples. So we know that these are the multiples. They are written in short form. So how are they exactly written in standard form is what now we are going to learn. Now before going to that, I would just like to tell you to do certain rectification in your textbook, which about the terms which are used over here. Now, if you come on to your page number 195 of your textbook, okay, the table of multiples of SI unit. So here you can see in your textbook, it is written as hector with an R. You just have to scratch that R letter out. It's just hecto. Okay, what is it? It is just hecto. It's not hector, it's hecto. Then you come to the next one, that is deca. If you come to the symbol form of deca, that is DA, there it is written capital D. So that should be small d. So both the letters here are small. So it is small DA. And when you come to the submultiples of SI unit, there is again one more rectification, nano. If you see in that table of the textbook, there you will see for nano, the symbol that they have used over there is capital N. Okay, so just rectify it, just change it. It is small n. Okay, so as we have done the rectification, now we will move on to the next, wherein we'll see how to write these multiples and the submultiples. We know they are written in multiple form. Now, how to write them down in standard form? Standard form means their original form. If I want to write all the digits, okay, add all the digits to it, what exactly or how exactly they need to be expressed or written. So here I will be sharing a word file with you all and we'll be solving it out here. Okay, so everyone can see this. Okay, so let's see. I've taken two examples over here for multiples, that is giga 10 raised to 9. So as I explained you just now, 10 raised to 9, 9 is written in the uppercase. This 9 is will be called as the exponent. Now this is the multiple form. Now if I want to write this number down in standard form, that means in its original form. Okay, so how I will be writing it down? So what will I do over here is I will write 1 as it is. Okay, what is the number of the exponent? What number is written in the exponent? 9. So when I have to increase the digits, I will be adding 9 zeros to after the number 1. How many zeros? 9 zeros after the number 1. Okay, so that's the standard form. That is how originally the number was. Such a big number. I didn't want to complex it. I didn't want to make it more difficult for me to write. So why? That is why we are using the multiples, wherein we are simply writing it down as 10 raised to 9. And this 9 states that there are 9 zeros after the number 1. In the same way, when we come to mega 10 raised to 6, okay, so here again I'll be writing 1 as it is. What's the exponent number? It is 6. So I'll be adding 6 zeros after the number 1. Clear? In the same way, when we come to submultiples, now here, what's the difference? The submultiples difference is exponent is written in negative. Okay, so whenever your exponent is written in negative, therein you, when you are writing the number is in standard form, you have to write it down in reciprocal form. Now, what is reciprocal form? Simple, factor form. Again, more simplified, numerator denominator form. Okay, so when I say reciprocal, that means my number, the standard form of the number is written in numerator and denominator form. So here my numerator will be 1, divide by 1, I'm writing as it is. Now, what is the exponent number over here? It is 2. So after the number 1, I'll be adding 2 zeros. Okay, so now if I divide 1 divided by 100, I'll get some 0.01 as an answer. Correct? So such small tiny particle or such small tiny measure are we here talking about. And when it comes to 10 raised to 6, so again in the same standard form, 1 divided by 1, how many zeros? 6 zeros. Why 6 zeros? Because my exponent is, okay, so this is how we write down the multiples and the submultiples according to the exponents which are given negative, positive into their standard form. So based on this, today we learned about what is time. We learned about why the SI unit system, the standard measurement was important. We also learned here about the multiples and the submultiples and how to write them down in their standard form. Thank you.